Taking My Time, But I Don't Know Where. Written by cosmicocean on AO3. Read by Alextris. Chapter 26. At the end of the day, Barnes thinks as he approaches Avengers Tower as fast as he can, Natalia is not answering her phone and he is out of fucking options. Barnes pounds on the door. "Natalia!" he shouts. "Natalia, open the door. It's an emergency." No response. He hits the door harder, frustrated. He notices a security camera pivot to stare at him. "Open the door or don't, but don't fucking gawk at me," he snaps. He hits the door again. "Natalia!" The door, abruptly, slides open. Cautiously, Barnes steps into a gleaming lobby, all silver and chrome. Tasteless, he thinks, but these things aren't up to him. The door seals behind him. "Hello," he asks slowly. "Good morning, Sergeant Barnes," a cool British accent says from nowhere. Barnes jumps, hand going to one of his guns. "Hi," he says. "Where are you?" "I am everywhere." "Uh-huh." He keeps his hand on his gun. "You got a name?" "I am called Jarvis." "Uh-huh. I'm looking for Natalia Romanova. Can you get me to her?" "I am afraid no one by that name resides in this tower." Barnes strains to remember her Americanized name. "In any case, I have been instructed not to allow you to go any further than the lobby." Barnes does a sweep of the room, quickly identifying the security cameras. "Jarvis, I gotta talk to someone in charge." Right on cue, an elevator door slides open. Barnes' stomach drops on seeing who steps out of it. Steve looks good. It's a dumb reaction to have. From skinny 5.5 foot nothing to beefed up, Barnes has always thought Steve Rogers looked good. But he does, just standing over there in sweats and t-shirt, still in his bedhead. Barnes glances at Sam Wilson over his shoulder, who looks considerably crankier to be here. Steve just looks guarded, the way he does when he won't let himself get his hopes up, but that just means he has hopes. Barnes swallows around the lump in his throat. "Hey, punk," he says quietly. "Hey, Buck," Steve answers, just as quiet. "Hey, Wilson," Barnes adds, "'cause it seems rude not to." Wilson gives him a tight nod. Barnes redirects his attention to Steve. "Steve, I need your help." "Anything," Steve immediately answers. "Within reason," Wilson cuts in. "I know this is this." Barnes sighs, frustrated. "Look, is Natalia here?" "I don't know who that is, Buck," Steve starts gently. "Whatever her name is now, The door opens behind him and Natalia and Hawkeye enter in jogging clothes. Both of them startle at the sight of him. "Whoa!" Hawkeye says, at the same time Natalia goes, "James?" And Barnes could cry in relief. "Natalia," he says, "I tried to call, but my phone's dead. It got hit on a mission. What's Hydra's got the kid." "Wait," Steve says, at the same time Natalia says, "What?" "They're bringing him somewhere in Switzerland." He holds out the papers with the coordinates. "I can't take it on my own." "Wait," Steve repeats. "Of course," Natalia squares her shoulders, taking the paper. "I'll be ready in 20. "Stop!" Steve shouts, staring at Natalia with a combination of horror and fury. "You knew? I've been looking for him, and you knew." "We don't have time for that," Natalia snaps. "James and I have a history. It's complicated. Everybody suit up. James, stay in the lobby. We'll call for you when we're ready." "Roger." Hawkeye follows Natalia into the elevator. Steve stares at Barnes mutely. It's easy to see the hurt there. It always has been. "I couldn't face you," Barnes tells him. "I'm sorry, but I have to do this. And we'll talk about it later, all right? But this comes first." Steve purses his lips, but gives him a tight nod. Barnes gives him a nod in return, and watches him and Wilson duck into the elevator, ignoring the tightness in his chest. Barnes sits in the lobby, trying not to fidget nervously with a knife until Jarvis says, "Your presence is requested at the top of the tower, Sergeant Barnes." The elevator doors open and Barnes gets in, waiting in silence until it takes him up to the helipad. He silently climbs the ramp into the Quinjet. All the Avengers look at him, and, a little uncertainly, he takes the empty space next to Steve. "We'll be there in 2 hours," Natalia tells him. "Thanks, Natalia," he says quietly. They sit in silence. Out of a want for anything else to do, Bucky starts disassembling one of his guns. As he starts putting it together, Steve mumbles, "You used to be slower at that." Barnes doesn't look up. "I've had decades worth of practice." "Yeah, guess so." Barnes slides the final piece in. He thinks about taking it apart again, but decides against it. He takes a long, low, even breath. "I couldn't stand to look at you," he tells Steve, still looking at the gun. "Even thinking about you hurt. So I went to ground in Queens. I ran into Natalia there. Don't be mad at her. She wanted to tell you. I made her promise." Steve is quiet. Barnes still can't look at him. "I just want you to be happy and okay," he finally says, a little stiffly. "If that's what you are, I'll be all right. I'll live. Steve sighs, frustrated. "Fuck, Bucky, I wish you'd told me about the kid." "Yeah, well, sorry you found out this way. You'll like him. He's a good kid." They're quiet again. "Don't suppose you named him after me?" Steve asks, a little too jovially for it to be real. Barnes blinks, finally looking at Steve, who's watching him with a forced smile. "The hell are you talking about?" "Sorry, dumb joke. It's not. Why would I have named him?" "I'm pretty sure you're supposed to name them when they come out," Steve snaps. "Unless that was Nat's job, I guess." "What?" Bucky stares. "What in God's green—" His jaw drops when he realizes. You think Peter is mine and Natalia's?" "Well, what am I supposed to think?" "You—" Barnes looks around at the suddenly dead quiet Quinjet before he looks at an equally bewildered Natalia. "Did you tell them Peter was ours?" "No, I can't even do that." "Wait," Stark says, gesturing between Barnes and Natalia. "So you two aren't sleeping together?" "No!" they say at the same time. "Not for a really, really long time," Natalia adds. Barnes is still feeling entirely too bewildered. "Aren't you shacked up with Hawkeye?" "He can't have gotten it that wrong." "Hell yeah, she is," Hawkeye says proudly, looking for a high five from Thor that he doesn't give him, although he does get a mildly exasperated eyebrow. "Then how do you think—" "Well, I know the decade of free love passed you by, Gramps," Stark starts. "Tony," Steve says, sounding almost relieved. "But her sleeping with Grimace doesn't mean she isn't sleeping with you." "I don't know what a Grimace is, and I'm not sleeping with Natalia." "So how does the kid enter into it?" Bruce asks. "He's just a kid," Barnes shouts. "He's not related to me." "So what, you're just abducting random teenagers in Queens now?" Wilson asks. Barnes is distinctly starting to wish he'd just done this on his own. "No, I'm mentoring him." "Okay," Steve says finally. "Everybody give Bucky some space." Barnes looks at Steve's, feeling at a loss. "I'm really not his dad," he tells him, still wrong-footed. I'm just keeping an eye on him." I'm sorry for jumping down your throat about it." "It's okay." They sit quietly. "I remember you," Barnes finally says. "All of it?" "I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever get back all of it. But I have enough." Barnes swallows, deciding to take a chance. "I really missed you, Steve." Steve's face shakes. He looks down. "Yeah," he says quietly. "I really missed you too, Buck." He rests a hand on Bucky's shoulder. "And I'm sure the kid's okay, Buck." "No, you're not." Barnes looks down at his gun. But he's tough. And if he's not okay, I'll tear the castle down, brick by brick. If he's not okay, Steve, I'll burn it to the fucking ground. They don't say anything after that.